And he's still with us. Back in SL, Drax also filed this report.
About the first multiplayer role game worth the name.
With speed and graphics that showed SL's true potential, no matter what the technical problems were.
My latest assignment as reporter for Life4You Television brought me into dangerous territory recently, the deserted streets of New York City. What happened? Looks like some kind of disease has wiped out mankind. Hey, who was that? Somebody is still alive. Looks as though he's searching for something. But for what? Zombies? Oh man, I thought they killed all of them, and 28 weeks later, I was slowly putting the pieces together. Apparently, the Electric Sheep Company had created a game on 5 Sims as a movie tie-in with the Warner Brothers feature I Am Legend starring Will Smith. The film is based on Richard Matheson's 1950s sci-fi classic of the same name, previously on the big screen as The Omega Man and The Last Man on Earth. In the original story, Robert Neville thinks he's the sole survivor of a plague that has turned everyone else into vampires. Neville kills them all, eventually garnering a reputation for the last of a dead breed, a human, a legend.
They were afraid. No.
When the Sheep designed I Am Legend Survival for Second Life, they closely followed the novel's adaptation for the screen. Will Smith plays the scientist Neville, the last human survivor in New York City, and mankind's last hope for a cure. Corey Ito is a texture designer at Electric Sheep and project manager for the I Am Legend game.
You can choose to be either an uninfected person or an uninfected dog, or you can choose to be an infected human, who are called Darkseekers in the movie, or an infected dog. So you can either choose to fight for the human side or just jump in and run around and tear and maim and kill and just have a fun time doing that.
Corey says the game is collaborative, bringing console-type quality to SL, not only in graphics, but in narrative.
The nature of the game, especially if you're playing as a human, is such that you really have to work together. As you're running around these New York City Sims, you can pick up salvage that you collect and then combine in the CDC lab to make things like better weapon upgrades, medical kits, defense weapons, and eventually the cure for the disease.
The Sheep, together with its client Warner Brothers, will decide when to insert elements of the cure into the system, thereby controlling when the story will end. Corey hopes the big pool of beta testers will stay on and bring their friends in to populate The Sims right away. Plus, a whole bunch of newbies might show up too, with Linden Lab having opened up the orientation experience to selected brands like Angie Chung. The Electric Sheep Company has combined the I Am Legend game with a newbie help center. You just have to sign up through their website and whoosh, you're instantly transported into arguably the darkest corner of SL. Too late now for a sample of Chunky Monkey.
One of the biggest creative problems that we had to tackle was how to work in both a new player orientation and a regular game orientation into the same sim. So we've divided it up into 2 tracks. If you're brand new to Second Life, you can follow this track over here with the green arrows and learn all of the basic things that you normally would at a regular new player orientation in Second Life.
Next, the noob can pick up a free skin. For those who are more experienced, and by that I mean ready to shoot stuff, there are game-specific avatars, infected and clean, all with custom animations and weaponry, as well as the required game HUD. Obviously, this project goes far beyond the typical short-lived movie tie-in, all too familiar in virtual worlds. Director X or Actor Y shows up, answers a few questions, hands out t-shirts, and exits, leaving behind not much more than the official trailer. In I Am Legend, players, fans, whatever, can die, get regenerated, and play until the cows come home, even if the movie bombs at the box office.
This is absolutely set up so it can have a life of its own past the movie if the demand is high enough. There's no reason that this couldn't run on its own for really indefinitely, even if we don't introduce the cure for many, many moons from now.
The Electric Sheep Company, with its 60-plus employees and more than 20 freelance contractors picked from SL's creme de la creme, appear to be making good money customizing the SL experience for their clients. Very soon, the CSI-branded viewer might bring in thousands of the CBS television show's fans who have never heard of SL before. I wonder what's next. Since the Sheep is partially owned by CBS, might we see a Young and Restless role-playing game? I'd love to play Victor Newman. For Life4You News, I'm Drexter Dupre, shopping for a mustache.
And now, let's ask the Lord to bless our work in 2008, shall we, Kira?
Right, St. Christoph. And I know where we should go to ask him. To a true SL architectural masterpiece.
It's Rube Rabiani reporting from the grand opening of the Cologne Cathedral in Second Life. It was rebuilt 1-to-1 on its own sim. The grand opening took place last Monday with a huge ceremony and a massive number of onlookers. Annie Milestone, a CEO of the company who managed the project, made an opening speech and gave a guided tour to inform residents about the tremendous amount of work needed to complete such a huge project. She answered everyone's questions, and there were a lot of them from all the interested SL residents. When the tour was over, I had the chance to meet Annie myself up here, where she told me more about the different construction phases involved in the building of the cathedral. Here we are, standing in front of the cathedral as it looks now.
The first building phase started in April this year, so it took us nearly 4 months for the cathedral to look as it does here. 3 planners and 5 builders were in charge of implementing the ideas we had. Right now we're in a kind of intermediate stage. We close the sim every day for about 5 hours and open it at 11 a.m. SL time for residents. In between, we are optimizing every single piece in detail.
I asked Annie about the upcoming work on the sim and about any future projects she's working on.
Our next big project is to make the cathedral interactive. Of course, that will take us a massive amount of time again. We're in talks right now about adding more buildings that would stand next to the real-life cathedral, but we're focusing the majority of our attention on the cathedral itself.
All of this made me curious about what the real-life cathedral and the real-life city of Cologne think about this.
Actually, we've been in touch with the real-life construction management of the real-life cathedral since October last year, and they were completely delighted when they heard our idea. The government of the city of Cologne was also totally keen on seeing what we put out here on our sim.
There was one last thing I had to ask Annie. It was about a colored window that I recognized inside the cathedral. Annie, of course, knew all about it.
The large coloured window you see here is called the Richter window. It comes from the famous architect Gerhard Richter, who was an icon in the field of modern art and architecture. Actually, this Richter window was opened in the real-life cathedral only last Saturday, so we thought it would be great to transform this beautiful piece into our virtual cathedral as well, especially since our goal is to build the SL cathedral exactly as it is in reality.
The opening event was followed by some dancing right in front of the building, and the atmosphere turned from religious to romantic right away.
And we too are going to take the opportunity to go from work to leisure. 'Cause this has been Life for You for today.
But don't worry, we'll be back next week with the latest news, entertainment, and advice. Here's wishing you all a successful and happy New Year. And of course, a great second life.
For information, comments, and suggestions, visit our website, www.lifeforyou.tv.